The camera that makes the crazy stripes. I need to mark this camera.
We do not want this camera ever again. Because you know what it is? It ends up looking like video, doesn't it?
Oh, no, you should see it when it takes off. Just periodically, it takes off and goes, and it gets all little wavy lines through it. You'll see it. But you'll have to watch you might want to swap over to this side in order to be seen. Or you can just sit there and look at it.
I'll take your word for it.
And it was called to my attention before, and I didn't pay any attention to it because I thought, oh, well, it may come.
Well, I remember at the end of a show one time, it was jerky, and you said, well, how long's that been going on? And I said, well, I just noticed it.
Well, anyway.
Is it that one, that kind of jerky, looking like a video?
All I can tell you is you wait and see it. It does it.
Cold and I need tea.
Okay. Come here.
Cold? Yeah, it is cold, isn't it?
It's hot. I'm sitting here sweating. I need to. It's cool outside, though, isn't it?
Yes.
It is cool outside.
Well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm fine, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Since I'm a little sleepy, and I guess it's the rain last night.
Can you take care of getting Joe, or letting Joe? Or can you take care of your own tea and things like that?
Yeah.
Either one of these is probably steeped by now, but this is a bad camera, and I want to swap it out.
Okay. You have exactly.
Well, y'all can talk.
We're swapping cameras.
We're gonna talk. Yeah, I brought my guitar because yesterday we played and we made a blues song and John sang a little bit and I can.
You made a blues or a blue?
Blues song.
Oh, you did.
So we were playing a little bit and some folks were in here singing and we were making up lyrics as we went along and it was pretty fun. And also, for my friend Colleen out there, which she asked me to play music at her birthday party, and I didn't play any music, so I came in and I played a birthday song for her yesterday. So I did that yesterday. Okay, just want you to know if you weren't watching, and maybe we'll do a Happy Birthday Colleen song today too. Because some song is better than nothing at any time.
You want some tea?
I do indeed.
Here's some delicious tea.
Well, thank you. Yeah, there's a little
It's
live
chilly.
music.
Yeah, they're doing something in there.
That sounds like the old studio days in the. No, you know what? I don't like. It's a
Oh, here's the sugar. Here's the
fake-
sugar.
yeah,
that's the
it's
fake
regular.
stuff.
regular stuff. It reminds me of the old studio days in. I used to go see my friends' bands play. All the factories in Brooklyn because they were cheap to rent, you know. So you go watch them there. And how are you?
I'm doing good.
Are you coming to the member meeting?
Absolutely. I'm bringing gumbo.
Ooh, I was gonna make gumbo. No,
That's good because I think we should have a gumbo cook-off. I think that would be a good show.
I have to see how my day goes. See,
I've already got my stock made. I've already got my chicken cooked. And
a crock pot. If I set up a crock pot here before 1 o'clock, would that work? And just
For
kept it
gumbo?
simmering?
Oh yeah.
Because I have to step
If you
away.
go ahead and make it, I mean, you can't make a gumbo in a crock pot, but you
No,
can keep it hot in a crock pot.
Because I won't be back here till probably about 6:45, but I'll be here earlier in the day.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring a hot plate because I'll have the gumbo and the rice, and I'm gonna bring something.
I was
gonna
do some bruschettas too. Because I had a nice goat cheese and sun-dried tomato mix, and then some roasted bread. And that's easy to carry. I might do that. You know, because that's nice, just to snacky stuff.
But still, I think that we need to have a gumbo cook-off.
I would love that. Oh
Wouldn't
yeah.
that be great?
Oh yeah.
Let's like some afternoon, or could
You let me know. I make a mean gumbo. You think I'm from New
I
Orleans?
make a mean gumbo too.
I'll bet.
I make a very mean gumbo.
You don't come from New Orleans.
No. I come from
New York.
New York. Staten Island.
So New
Well, tell me
Orleans
how you
or
do
New
your
York?
gumbo. I'm not going to copy it, by the way.
No.
Well, I don't know. I work with different roux too. You know, because you use different fats to get different flavors in the roux.
So tell me about what you do with your roux.
I'll make a light gumbo and a dark gumbo. In the light gumbo, I'll use a bacon roux, or if I have it, actually, if I'm doing If I'm doing a duck gumbo or chicken gumbo, I try and match the
shipwreck in the Florida Keys. Where the buffalo roam and tourists are getting a little too close. Cautionary tales from South Dakota. That's coming up on All Things Considered.
For 15 years, Johannes Brahms could not bring himself to finish his first symphony. But when it finally came out and people loved it, his second symphony took only 3 months to write. No one more surprised by that than the composer himself. Hi, I'm Brian Newhouse. The Los Angeles Philharmonic wraps up its Brahms cycle with this sunny second on SymphonyCast from American Public Media.
SymphonyCast comes your way tonight at 8 o'clock on WCQS 88.1. Good afternoon, I'm Trent Henley. It's 11 minutes before 5 o'clock. You're listening to All Things Considered. Support for programming is provided by our members and by...
Now it's getting there, but it's out of focus.
It's out of focus.
Well, we're gonna fix that, okay?
This is not gonna work.
Is that what did Jen just say? Okay, this is not going to work.
All the meters in the studio going.
We need a soundproof studio.
Yes, I closed. I went up there and I closed the control room door and everything. And
You know, it reminds me.
I think I've opened it again.
It reminds me, John, of in Brooklyn and Manhattan when people used to rent the storage units and
Practice.
yeah, and you wouldn't hear nothing. Then you'd open up the door and your hair would yeah, it was a wall of sound that would come out.
Right. There we go.
I never understood why, in an 8x10 room, why someone would need a wall of marshals around them to practice. The drums could only go so loud, but then you had to amplify the drums.
It's a matter of ego. You know this.
It's like the louder the sound, the bigger the little thingy.
The little thing. That
Big mouth, big speaker, little. You know what? Is that what that is?
That only works for people with little thingies.
So I'm Katie, by the way.
I'm Joe. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
He's a cook too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
I'm a cook too. I've done a couple little cooking programs for here. But.
Oh, okay.
I was a chef at a spa for 5 years. I was a chef. I guess I've been in the business for about 20 years, and I guess I was off and on a chef about 15 years.
So do you watch Top Chef?
You know what show I really like? I shouldn't plug it, but the one with the burning kitchen. Let's just say that. I won't say the name on the air. It's on Channel 5, where they have 10 chefs competing against each other, the blue team and the red team.
Channel 5, is that cable or
I guess it's cable,
Must be
Fox
cable.
Network or something like
okay.
that. But that's a really good show. I've grown to enjoy watching that. Because they bring in people at all different levels, and then they put them in this intense environment, and you watch them break, or turn against each other,
Yes. Get cutthroat.
But it's all about the food too, and it's funny because under pressure you see certain people how they maintain the quality food they're putting out, and other people gotta get that out, and they'll hand the expediter, half cooking chicken, it just doesn't work. So yeah.
Are you
We should have a gumbo cook-off though. That'd be fun.
I agree.
Are you talking about the Iron Chef or what here?
No, we're talking about first
Hell's
we were
Kitchen.
talking
You ever
about,
watch Hell's Kitchen?
No.
It's a good show.
That'd be good. Have a
Hello?
cooking show. I'll come and eat. Yeah. I'll eat everything you guys cook.
Well, like at the member meeting that we're gonna have next week, maybe we can put a little sign there saying, if you want to participate in a gumbo cook-off, give us a call
that's
or
a good
whatever.
idea.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
way, you know, we kind of have get some.
Start
some-
talking
get
it up
some-
and getting people involved in it. Sure.
Mhm.
That'd
Would
be
you-
Your sign up sheet.
Would you cook the gumbo here?
I think that's traditionally what you do is you have
Like
to
cook
do
it in the
part
parking lot.
of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You'd have to have a, you know,
So you need
teams
people
and
bring
judges
gas
and-
grills in, that kind of
We
thing.
can
and
we
put
can
some-
do it in the parking lot or right outside
Mhm.
in that little picnic area.
And then we'll need a lot of people to come to eat the gumbo, won't
Oh
we?
yeah.
I'm not sure that you can do it like that because
No.
my gumbo takes a long time to cook.
Well, you'd have to make it
How
at
long?
home and you just bring it in to serve.
So it'd be like
We
a
couldn't
fair
pre-
more.
Well,
we
just
couldn't
the
really
roux
pre-
takes an hour.
Yeah, we
and then
couldn't-
you have to be able to control that flame because
Yeah.
a roux has to be
Mhm.
stirred
Yeah.
constantly.
It would basically
so
be a taste off.
it would be more
and
of
then
a
we could have some of the
well,
ingredients
you
and
would bring
talk to
it
people
in.
about it,
Yeah,
yeah.
it would have
But
to
you
be
could
brought
make it
in.
here. It's a long process.
It could be assembled here
Mhm.
Or you could do something else.
because you
Yeah.
could do your
Doesn't have to
roux
be
set
gumbo.
because you have to have your roux, you have to have your stock.
Yeah, you could do your
have
mise
to
en
have
place
your
separate.
your
Yeah.
mise en place
Yeah.
separate, and then assemble it all
Here, yeah.
here.
Well, now tell me this. Do you put any cayenne pepper in your
Well,
gumbo?
I get when I go to New Orleans, I buy andouille sausage and
Yeah.
tasso, and I
And
bring
just
it
use
back.
what's already in the sausage,
and
does
and
it?
if I taste it and it needs more
Uh-huh.
spicing up than what's there, then I'll add some. But
Okay.
generally,
You don't put cayenne pepper in
I
yours?
don't add salt or I don't use
I don't-
too
I
much
don't use
cayenne
salt either.
because it makes its own somehow. Something happens and it
Mhm.
just comes in.
And the longer you let it simmer, the more flavors come out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you gotta be like this. I always tell people making soups, you tie your hands behind your back and don't taste it for the first hour and a half. And even after that, be patient.
Now tell me this. Do you think it's better the next day?
It's good anytime.
Yeah.
It's not like chili that seems to be better the next day. I think gumbo is pretty good right out of the
Yeah.
pot.
Okay.
It doesn't. I mean, it's good. It's good frozen. You can
As-
freeze it
as soon
up
as it's
after-
ready, it's good.
I think it's good
It's
because
good.
it's got all those wonderful flavors in there, and it's
Mhm.
just it's really the only really complicated food that I cook.
Gumbo really?
Otherwise, I don't cook real complicated food.
Do you make rice and beans?
Yeah.
It's
Have
it's a matter of steps, I think, in the gumbo, because if that's the complicated thing, putting things in sequence, and not being impatient and saying I'm gonna throw it all in the pot and make it work, because then you don't
I
let
saw
the
a guy
flavors release.
do his roux one time, and he did it like real fast, high heat in about 10 minutes. I
Yeah.
don't think you can do
Because
that.
you get a floury taste, and you don't get that peanutty aroma. You have seen all different types of roux made.
Yeah, well,
I'm
I
gonna,
really
I'm gonna have to
gotta-
go close their door and tell them that
I really got
I'm
a
closing their door.
good taste of delicious roux.
John, go close the
Yeah.
door.
I got a really good taste. When I finally tasted just the best gumbo I ever had was at Mr. B's in New Orleans, and you took a bite of it, and the depth of the roux was like, boy, that is fabulous.
Yeah.
Have you been back to New Orleans recently?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm going in a couple weeks too.
How is it?
But
How is it now?
well, it's going to be a long time,
Yeah.
very long time, before it's even close to recovery.
Uh-huh.
There are areas that are still even untouched, and
Really?
like there was. I read the New Orleans paper almost every day, so I kind of follow what's happening. And like there was yesterday, they were getting ready to just demolish an old folks' home that nobody had ever come back. They showed pictures of the
Yeah.
inside and the mold on the walls. and
Yeah.
no one had ever come back to it. And they're starting to demolish places that have not started any recovery. So that's a step forward. But I think it's devastating like the Civil War was to the South.
Yeah.
It's just a huge amount of devastation. It's going to take years to recover.
And now we're coming back into hurricane season. I can't imagine how nervous I would be if I was down
My
there.
friend that I go to visit, okay, so before, I mean, she'd lived there all of her life, and when it first happened, she goes, I just can't believe I got flooded. I just can't believe it. And so, because it had never happened before in her neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
Well, it had happened in other neighborhoods because you hear about people who I mean, there was this little old lady that they interviewed, and she said, well, I've had to move 4 times in my life, and it was all because of floods. So it's flooded there before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now Doretta, my friend, is going like, well, it's no longer if it's going to flood again, it's like when. And now I'm thinking in terms of the kind of automobile I need, because she's got cats and dogs and family heirlooms and what she's going to take to pack into that car to get out of there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So now it's like when.
It reminds me of Venice a lot, and how beautiful and how, people love to go there and tour there, and you want to keep that culture alive.
Yeah.
But it's kind of sinking. It seems like it's all sinking. And what can you do to keep it going?
That culture will always be there because New Orleans it started off attracting people from all different cultures, and for some reason they could all fit in their little niche there.
It's because it was a harbor town and
Yeah,
all
it
that.
was
The
partly
trade
that,
through there
exactly.
brought people from
and it's still
all
and
countries.
the harbor is still there.
Yeah.
All
countries
and
come through there.
there's a lot of prosperity that floats
right.
down the Mississippi to that city.
That's right.
And I used to have a saying
That's what made that city.
because some people were really kind of laid back, and I said, well, yeah, they don't do any work, they just wait for it to float down the river to
They
them.
do.
And it's true, they do. The old money families, I mean, it just floats down the river to them.
That's right.
And it's going to always be there because the Mississippi's not going anywhere. It's there.
That's right.
And it has to have a port right there.
That's right.
At the mouth of the
Right.
Gulf.
And
So
it
New Orleans
floats right
is
down
what-
that river.
and it will always have that rich culture that it's got, I think. I think it's deeply wounded, but I think it will eventually come back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe better.
Yeah.
Well, they say that, but I don't honestly believe. I honestly do not believe that they will regain a lot of what they've lost. Better
Yeah,
is
because they've lost half their population.
better is
They're not coming back. You don't think they're coming back?
better depends on your perspective.
I said that's what I said. Maybe better. I don't know.
But-
Maybe worse. I don't know.
But with that, it's funny, didn't like little New Orleans pop up all over the country too, where all the folks came. Now I saw where in Denver people were eating gumbo for the first time, and they loved it. They'll probably open up New Orleans restaurants in Denver now, and
that's
but I think
Have you had some of this?
Yes, this is
it's
what
pretty-
I have right now.
pretty
I
interesting
think.
how
Two
people
different
are
kinds?
taking that culture. I mean,
Well, actually,
even though it may not, some of it may
haven't had any of this yet.
perish in New Orleans because of what happened.
They're both rock tea from
The
Louisiana.
recipes and the
But,
cultures is moving
was
out
rock
across the
tea.
country. It's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That was rock tea
Well,
number
that's one of
one,
the
and this
reasons
is
I wanted
just
to do my cooking shows
plain
to
rock.
bring in some of the wonderful food
Yeah.
from New Orleans, because I did a Daubert cake, which is a really big New Orleans tradition for your birthday, and it's a really delicious cake. And then the gumbo, and I did etouffee.
well. We
Now I
used,
need to do red beans and rice, but I just haven't gotten around
Yeah.
to doing it yet because
We
I've
have-
been busy.
we for some years here, like 10 years ago or more, 10, 15 years ago here, we used to have a tradition of having a Mardi Gras.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of ours who had come here from New Orleans had a little porcelain baby doll
Mm-hmm.
that was over 100 years old that she had gotten in a cake
Mm-hmm.
when she lived in New Orleans.
From the king cakes.
From the king cake, and she had been the one who had found the baby in the king cake the year that she moved to Asheville. So when she came to Asheville, she brought that little baby with her. Well, she said, I have to throw the party this year, so she threw the party right here in Asheville.
Well, wait. Tell
And-
me that tradition. What's the king cake? What's the
King
story
cake,
behind that?
I don't know for sure how the king cake got started, but boy, the minute, just a couple of days after Christmas, the king cakes start showing up everywhere around town. And it used to be just a glorified, just a circle, sprinkled
A ring cake.
just a circle, and it was just like a coffee cake
Okay.
with sprinkled purple and green and yellow,
Yellow.
which is Mardi Gras colors, or gold.
Then they started icing them in big patches of green and purple and
Yeah, and so then they ice them, but now they're really good. I used to like them too much, but now they're stuffing cream cheese
You can still play it
inside.
if you like. Was that you
and
making all the noise over there?
No, I'm not yet. They're stuffing cream cheese inside, and now they're good. But they used to be just plain old coffee cakes
Right.
in Mardi Gras colors.
Uh-huh.
And so everybody, every time you have a get together, somebody brings a king cake, and then they slice it up, and there's a baby always in there, a little plastic baby, and whoever gets the baby has to do the next king cake party.
They throw the party.
Okay.
Whoever comes to the party and finds the Cracker Jack prize in
I
their piece
see.
of cake, then they throw the next
one.
party.
Okay. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, keeps the party going.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know.
And
So
so
anyway-
you know, any excuse to party down there.
Right. Right.
Any
Exactly.
excuse.
So you're saying this
It's a
woman
party
had
town.
had her was a baby?
But she had a porcelain one, which
Oh,
would be
It was over
a
100.
real deal.
Uh-huh.
Right, and
Not
she's,
just an old plastic one.
right. She said that was a tradition. She said that she was too obligated, that because of the age of that baby doll and how it had been passed through. And they're just little. They're not big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And actually, this was. I mean, I saw it pulled out. I think it was gross because it had like those tied on arms. It was a little bit. It had like tied on arms and legs and stuff. And it was like.
Oh, it was animated.
Yeah, it was.
Well, usually they're just stiff little pieces of plastic.
Plastic.
Yeah,
They
I
aren't
know.
moving around.
I know. Anyway, so they, but she said because of she said the baby doll was over 100 years old. It was like a pre-Civil War thing, and it had been around.
That's way
Uh-huh.
old.
Right, and she said because of that she felt so obligated to continue the tradition. Otherwise, if it had been just a plastic baby,
Yeah.
she might have just.
Well,
you
and
know.
that's one of the reasons, I feel obligated to continue the tradition of New Orleans cuisine because, you got to keep the memory alive while they're recovering. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a great town.
But they would
It's
prefer
got a
that.
lot. I always say it's got something for everybody,
Yep.
good and bad.
That's true. That's true of New Orleans. There's something for everybody, good and bad. That's
It's
true.
just, well, did you hear about the guy that cooked his girlfriend?
Did he
Oh,
eat
I
her
didn't hear
too?
that.
Was it
Did
recently?
Yeah,
Did he cook her and eat her?
he tried, but he couldn't do it, and he committed suicide.
That was.
I was.
No, and so the joke, of course, they're gonna make a joke about everything down there and turn it into some gross cuisine thing. So
I know,
they
I
were
was gonna say
wondering
gumbo.
there's several blackened seasoning recipes, and so did you think he used Paul Prudhomme's or Tony Catherine's blackened girlfriend? You have to have a little bit of a black sense of humor to get by down there.
That's true. Yeah. And they have their haunted tours now.
Well, see, this is on the haunted tour now.
Uh,
Where he killed his
doubt, no
girlfriend.
doubt.
And
Oh, yeah.
so, and it was in the French Quarter, and they got into a big
and do they
fight.
offer
She's
you?
gonna
Do they
kick him
offer
out.
you like a barbecue sandwich when you?
On that tour, they give you some blackened girlfriend.
Yeah.
Shish kebab.
It's just kebab.
Have you guys done the Asheville haunted tour? Here
No.
too?
No.
Oh, it's
No, I
great.
Have
haven't
you?
done it.
Yes, I have.
Oh,
Yeah.
now tell us about it. I
It's
want to
great.
hear the details.
Um,
Pink Lady has to be there. We know that. What else you got?
We did. I really enjoyed. We didn't see any ghosts or anything like that on this tour, but it's a walking tour. You walk all around town, and I think there are a few people that do it now. And the guy, I forgot his name, that wrote the book about haunted Asheville.
Mhm.
He was the one that did the tour when I did it, and he was really great. And it was great just to get the history of Asheville also, because there's things that I didn't know about, shootouts that had happened, and all this exciting stuff in Asheville's history. And then you're walking around at night, and it's kind of creepy when they're telling you all these ghost stories. So it's a really interesting tour to do.
Does it
Yeah.
go all over Asheville? Like, or what?
Well,
It's just kind of a circle around downtown. It's not really
so
strenuous.
they don't make it out to the two most famous places, Helen's Bridge. You didn't go out to Helen. Never heard of Helen's Bridge. And the first or second most famous ghost story of Asheville, and you didn't make it out to the Grove Park Inn to see the Pink Lady,
No.
but you heard about that one.
I think so, yeah, because I remember he told stories about.
Those are the two.
places in
Those are the
area.
two most famous ones in Asheville.
And I don't know anything about either one, so tell us.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, on one of the floors in the old part of the Grove Park Inn, there's, I believe she jumped off the balcony down and killed herself. That's what I'm not sure if that. I'm not even sure if they know who the heck she was. But occasionally you see the Pink Lady. She's an apparition that pops up, and I've stayed in that section before, and I didn't see anything really special, but it's kind of spooky. and then it's because it's in the
So
old
are you
section.
talking about like the sunset, where the sunset dining room is, that big veranda that's out there? Did she jump off there?
No. This is right. I'm not sure she jumped, but it's in the middle of the old part. You have to
In
be
the lobby?
No, upstairs in where the
Oh.
rooms are. Upstairs where the rooms are, they above the lobby. They go. They circle all around.
Oh, is there an atrium up there?
Yeah, there's
oh,
an
okay.
atrium up
Oh,
there.
okay.
I'm not sure she jumped from that atrium. I'm just know that you can sit there and you can look for several floors up or down from in that area, and it's the old area.
That's an
The
open
old part,
area.
and the old part feels like the old part, you know, and that which is I've never stayed in any other part except the old part, and
I stayed in the old part once.
so the
I think if I had to stay somewhere after I died, a hotel would be a good place. Right?
I
Particularly
think
if
They
that
built
would
a
be
spa
very
there
good
now,
place.
so you know,
and then
she's one happy apparition, I bet. You know.
I think Helen's Bridge.
Go into the kitchen.
I think a woman named Helen tied a noose around her head and her neck and jumped off and hung herself. Yeah, committed suicide, and then someone and now even sometimes people will be coming up through there, and it's up off of it's the opposite side of the cut from Town Mountain, and do they call that Rainbow Mountain or something like that over on the other side of the cut? Anyway, it's the other side of the cut from Town Mountain. It's the mountains over
It's
there.
the backside of Town Mountain.
And if you go through there, you know it's all curvy roads. If you ever go over the mountain instead of going through the tunnel
Right.
or the cut,
Okay.
if you go over the mountain, it's that way. If you go over the mountain that way, you go through Helen's Bridge, which is right near the top, and all the roads are real curvy and all. And so from time to time, someone will come around the corner really fast, and they will run in the swinging body of the woman will hit their windshield, and they'll all freak out.
out,
It
yeah.
scares them real bad when that happens. So apparently she still appears swinging from a rope, and freak people out who could go under Helen's Bridge.
Have any of you guys had ghost encounters or seen anything you couldn't explain like that?
I'm on air, I better not say. Yes.
Uh-oh.
Yes, and they were just interesting and nice encounters. But yeah.
Oh, he had one of those kind of ghosts, I guess.
Worked at a spa, and we had numerous guests who had to change rooms, and you know where rocking chairs would start moving, and you know, and I was the day chef there, and I'd go up in the attic in the morning, and I'd leave coffee and stuff for them when either if I closed down the restaurant
For the
or if
ghosts?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, you know, and then I'd come back down. In the morning, they were gone. Sometimes I'd come in the kitchen, I'd go make my coffee, I'd go check to open the front door, and then all the dishes in the kitchen would just fly off the shelves, and you know,
Oh, that could get
And,
expensive.
it wasn't my money, but you know, it was a mess. I had to clean up before breakfast, but yeah, it was pretty interesting.
What can you tell us the name of
I'd
this?
rather not repeat the name.
Can you tell us what area of the country it was in?
Oh, North Carolina.
It was
Yeah,
in North
the
Carolina.
mountains of North Carolina.
In the mountains of
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Yeah, it was an old mansion, old